Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a kind and merciful queen. She had two daughters. The elder one, Princess Arabella, was very beautiful and wise. She was gentle, loving, and cared for everyone. But the younger daughter, Princess Selena, was proud and rude. She was only proud of her beauty and looked down upon others. The queen loved both of her daughters deeply, but one day she suddenly fell seriously ill. All the healers of the kingdom tried every possible cure, but no medicine worked. At last, a wise healer said, "The queen's health will only be restored when someone brings her the water of life." Hearing this, the whole palace was filled with sorrow. It was announced across the land that whoever would bring the water of life for the queen would be rewarded with half the kingdom. But no one knew where that water could be found. Princess Arabella was desperate to save her mother's life. She decided that no matter how many difficulties she faced, she would go herself to find the water of life. But Princess Selena didn't care at all about her mother. She spent all her time admiring her own beauty in the mirror. Princess Arabella rode on her horse through forests and valleys. She crossed mountains, rivers, and dark paths, but the water of life was nowhere to be found. One day, she reached a vast desert. There, she saw a huge caravan of camels being loaded with food and supplies. Suddenly, a violent storm rose, and the people of the caravan ran away, leaving everything behind. At that moment, a playful and mischievous genie appeared. He began unloading the camels and eating greedily. Princess Arabella gathered her courage, went near him, and asked in a trembling voice, "Oh, Genie, do you know where I can find the water of life?" The genie laughed and said, "The water of life is in the garden of Prince Bibble, but reaching there is impossible." Saying this, he went inside his hut. Princess Arabella followed him and gently said, "If you allow me, I can make something delicious for you." The genie was surprised, but agreed. With love and care, the princess made a tasty, sweet dish for him. When the genie ate it, he was very pleased. Then the princess told her problem and said, "Please help me. I need the water of life for my sick mother." The genie looked into her eyes and said softly, "Innocent princess, I want to help you, but taking you there is beyond my power. However, my friend's daughter, the green fairy, can guide you. Take this ring and tell her I sent you. She will not refuse to help." Then the genie recited a mysterious spell. The ground shook, and from the burst of flowers appeared a magical carpet, and then it began to float in the air. The genie smiled and said, "Don't be afraid, dear princess. This will take you safely to the green fairy." A magical carpet glided down from the sky, and the princess gracefully sat upon it, and in moments the magical carpet soared high into the sky, flying across the clouds. Soon it placed her gently in front of a magnificent and beautiful palace, the palace of the green fairy. Princess Arabella told the green fairy her sad story, and with tears in her eyes said, "I need the water of life to save my sick mother, the queen." The green fairy sighed and said, "That water is in the garden of the prince of the genies, but reaching there is not easy. On the ground, snakes and scorpions guard it. In the sky, thousands of fairies and genies watch over it, and beneath the ground lives the king of mice. It is almost impossible to reach that garden." Hearing this, the princess's heart sank in despair. Tears filled her eyes. Seeing her sorrow, the green fairy felt pity. She smiled and, using her magic, turned the princess into a beautiful lily fairy. Now, Princess Arabella quietly stood among the fairies, guarding the garden. When the moment came, she slipped into the garden of the Prince of the Genies. The garden was breathtakingly beautiful. Flowers of every color bloomed. The air was filled with fragrance. Rare birds sang sweet songs, and sparkling lakes made the place look like a dream. In the middle of the garden stood a grand and shining palace. As the princess looked around, she saw many fountains and pools. Suddenly, her eyes caught sight of one spring that glittered like silver. She remembered the green fairy's words. This was the spring of the water of life. She quickly filled her vessel and silently thanked the heavens. But as she raised her head, her eyes fell on the magnificent palace that seemed full of mystery and danger. When Princess Arabella entered the palace of glass and jewels, her eyes widened in wonder. The walls sparkled with precious stones, and every room glowed with light. Inside the palace, there was a grand room where a very handsome prince was sleeping. The princess had imagined that the Prince of the Genies would be ugly and frightening. But as soon as she saw him, a smile escaped her lips. He was impossibly beautiful. The sound of her soft laughter woke the prince. He opened his eyes and saw a lily fairy standing before him. Surprised, he sat up, and the frightened princess quickly flew away. The prince's name was Bibble. He immediately ran after her. The princess flew straight to the green fairy's palace. The green fairy saw her and said anxiously, "Leave quickly, Arabella. Soon Prince Bibble will discover the truth. If someone takes the water of life, that spring dries up forever. When he finds out, he will punish you severely." The green fairy handed her a ring and said, "When you reach your kingdom, rub this ring, and I will turn you back into a human." The princess sighed in relief and flew across the skies. She passed forests, mountains, and valleys, until at last she reached her homeland. It was night. She went straight to her sister Princess Selena's room. When Selena saw a fairy before her, she was shocked. Princess Arabella told her everything and showed her the water of life. Selena recognized her and said with excitement, "Sister, you must be tired. Drink this juice. Then we will give this water to our mother together." Arabella drank the juice, but suddenly fainted. Selena took advantage of the moment and sprinkled the water of life on her mother. The queen immediately regained her health. Selena lied, saying, "Mother, I brought this water myself." The queen, unaware of the truth, believed her. When she asked about Arabella, Selena said, "Mother, a fairy killed her." The queen was shocked and heartbroken. As proof, Selena showed her Arabella, still in the form of a fairy, lying unconscious in the dungeon. The queen, filled with anger and grief, ordered that the fairy who committed this crime be imprisoned forever. When Princess Arabella opened her eyes, she found herself locked in a dark cell. She could not understand what had happened to her. The entire kingdom was celebrating, for Princess Selene was crowned the new queen. But the queen mother was still sad, missing her elder daughter. Meanwhile, Princess Arabella sat alone in her prison cell,
full of sorrow. Suddenly, she remembered her magical ring. When she rubbed it, the green fairy appeared before her. Seeing her condition, the green fairy was deeply worried. The princess told her everything and said, "If possible, make me a palace and garden just like the Prince Bibble." The green fairy used her magic and created a dazzling palace of glass and jewels surrounded by a magical garden. The princess began living there. Soon, the beauty of her palace and garden became famous across the lands. Even the queen heard of it. Princess Arabella invited the queen to visit her palace, but she didn't show herself. She called her sister Selena and said gently, "If you want the throne and the crown, take them. But why did you betray me?" The queen and Princess Selene returned from the palace. The queen was amazed, wondering who this mysterious person could be who owned such a splendid place. A few days later, a great army of genies attacked the kingdom. The queen and Princess Selene were captured. Prince Bibble, the prince of the genies, asked the captured Selene, "Tell me, where is the one who stole the water of life from my garden?" Terrified, Selena cried, "Please don't harm me. I am not the one." Just then Princess Arabella appeared and bravely said, "My sister is innocent. I am the one who took the water of life. If you don't believe me, look at my palace and garden. They are just like yours." Prince Bibble was astonished. He was deeply moved by the princess's courage and honesty. He said, "I have always been searching for a brave and kind-hearted girl like you. Will you marry me?" Princess Arabella smiled and said, "Yes." Thus, Princess Arabella and Prince Bibble were married in a grand ceremony. The queen finally learned the whole truth. Princess Selene apologized to her sister, and Princess Arabella forgave her with all her heart. She gave the throne and crown to her sister and went with Prince Bibble to his world, where she lived forever and ever as a fairy in joy and peace. If you enjoy this story, please like my video and subscribe my channel, and don't forget to hit the bell icon for more new videos. Thank you.